Hey, Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan London. If this is your first Geekscape, strap yourselves in for some pop culture talk, movies, video games, TV, comic books, all the pop culture goodness that you can, shake a stick at in about an hour. We'll be talking some X-Men 97. We wrapped up season 2. We have Magneto himself, Matt Waterson, here with us. Also, D23 happened. There was a lot of cool stuff that came out of it, including the X-Men cast for the live-action MCU. And what else did we get? We got a VisionQuest trailer where we got to see the return of Ultron in his human form. Did you guys watch Lanterns episode 1? That one's getting a lot of praise, but it also has a little bit of controversy. Some people are like, wait, do I love this? I don't know if I love this. What are they doing? It's a mystery. Do I want a mystery with my Green Lantern? Who knows? It's a different tone than Superman and Supergirl for sure. We're going to talk all about it on brand new Geekscape. I'm not going to delay. Thank you guys so much as well for everything. Dennis Cowan was my guest on the last Geekscape. It was a recording from a panel we did about a year ago. Amazing. If you guys are into comics, you're not going to want to miss me talking to Dennis Cowan on Geekscape. So just go back. And if you want to hear Christian Bladt, who you're about to hear in a little bit as a guest here on this episode, if you want to hear Christian and I talk Spider-Man Brand New Day, that's 2 episodes ago on the feed. And we pretty much, I got a text from my friend Benj last night that was like, yes, I finally saw Spider-Man. I can listen to you guys talk about it. And then he just started live commenting our podcast in text to me as he listened to it. Like he was a guest, delayed by 2 weeks on the podcast. That's the experience with Geekscape. All right. Let's get a new experience with Geekscape as we start the show. We'll be right back with Matt and company. All right, here we go. All right, Geekscapists, welcome. The words were going out faster than I could speak. Hey, Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape. Don't forget to subscribe, share this with your friends, and all that. It really helps when you guys share Geekscape, and it proliferates out there with the rest of your geek acquaintances and your friends and your family, and maybe a couple enemies. You'll be like, hey, listen to this. Use it as a, an olive branch. And say, I'm sorry, I stole your Legos in the 3rd grade. I never gave them back. They went up my nose. But here's a Geekscape episode you might enjoy with some nerds who are talking latest news and reviews and stuff. And they got Matt Waterson here. So why don't we start and get some of these folks on camera. Here's Matt Waterson himself.
Hello.
Hello, Eric Lencher, Magnus. Magneto himself. There's Matt. We've also got Christian, who we talked Brand New Day, and now he's back.
You not only took my Legos, but you also have my Snake Eyes and Zartan.
Those did not go up my nose, but they did go somewhere.
We don't want to talk about it.
Have Christina, the wisecracking blonde. She's in the house. How are you?
I'm good. Is the list of stuff going up the nose longer or shorter than the list of stuff not going up the nose? Because it feels like more stuff's going up than not.
Less stuff went up.
I'll let you think about it.
It was a phase. There was a phase.
I mean, the phase lasted like 20 years, but it was a phase.
Yeah. We're still in the phase. Okay, good to know.
Yep, we're still in the phase. We might be in the phase currently right now as we record this. And someone who helps me remove those things is a good thing. Marcos.
His doctor's joining us today.
Speaking of which, I don't know what you want me to do with this. You know, it took us 3 hours to get this out.
What is that?
But, we'll talk about that offline. We'll talk about that offline. I should probably not violate your HIPAA.
Yeah. Well, how big do you think this DeLorean is? Never mind. We're not doing that.
Well,
Jonathan, Matt's here. So I met Matt when we were doing free comic book day signings at We Can Be Heroes Comics over there in Northridge. And I then found out in that conversation that he's friends with Christina, and I was like, oh, great. And then he and Christina talk, and I see the text, Matt, and you say Jonathan's a sweetheart in the text.
Oh, I lie compulsively.
Dude.
Oh, I assumed that was just autocorrect.
Fair.
Yeah. I see this text. Jonathan's a sweetheart. No, not after what you just learned about me.
No, he said he's a sweatshirt, and then autocorrect kicked in.
No, sweat shop.
No, I think it was he started SOB and then somehow he has an aggressive autocorrect on his iPhone.
There.
It's like, wait, what? No.
I like you, Jonathan.
You're only saying that because I put you on ice with Geekscape for 12 years.
That was the best part, was the 12 years when I wasn't on.
I gave it a guess, and then 12 years went by. I was like, hey, that guy was pretty good. I should bring him back.
I only like Jonathan when he's dressed as his comic book character.
Oh, Super Action Man?
That is a comic book character.
Yeah.
Speaking of We Can Be Heroes comics, I put out the comic, the Super Action Man comic, and I'm about to start mailing them out for the Kickstarter followers. But I had them at Comic-Con, and our friend who runs We Can Be Heroes, he's like, hey, you should do a signing of your comic book here. And I said, should I or should Super Action Man? He like, why don't we just have you sign them? Why don't you just show up and not your guy? And I'm
there's a school nearby. That's why, they wanted to make sure that the kids
keep
were
it
allowed
appropriate.
on
all right. Guys, not in front of Matt. Not in front of Matt, please.
I'm sorry. I mean, you're one of the most influential people I ever met in my life. Thank you for that thing you did many years ago with those people. I wouldn't be here without you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And one of the conditions is that we only speak about it publicly. So I appreciate that you've never brought it up until now.
Yeah. Not even my family.
What's the opposite of an NDA?
Yeah, exactly.
We have to talk about it.
Being a town crier.
NDA.
We tried to get PDA working, but that was met with so much grief.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marcos. Am I the only one that has to sign a PDA anytime I'm in a room with Jonathan? This is really confusing.
You signed something. He told me this is the only way I could be part of Geekscape.
I said you still got that bat shape of a pen or a pen chip bat. You still got that thing. Guys, we got Matt here. Let's talk X-Men 97. It happened. X-Men 97 happened. Guys, this thing started out, in my opinion, those first 3-4 episodes that deal with the time displacement from last season, those are incredible episodes, and the crescendo of it is definitely the scene featuring our good friend Matt Waterson, Apocalypse, and Charles Xavier. Is it too much to say that was the height of season 2 for a lot of people? I did enjoy season 2 a lot. I love Rachel's episode. I love that there's an episode. The Danger episode is awesome. I think the Polaris, the focus on Polaris and whatever is going on between Polaris and Bishop.
I think we know. I think we all know what's going on, Jonathan.
I love it.
Are you guys part of that camp? Because me and Raheem, aka Megaran, my co-host
on the
X-Pod 97, we had this debate, and I was like he texted me about it because we watch it together. We do a lot of things together, and we text each other at the same time. But that was one of the things that we were both texting, and he was like, he was phrasing it, and I was like, you're hearing this completely different than me. Like, I don't understand how you. He was like, hey, and I was like, no, I don't. I just heard it as lines.
How do you see it? What's the relationship between Bishop and Polaris to you, Marcos?
I just thought that they were more talking like, as superheroes that are common, and they're like, doing clips, but everybody seems to think that all of a sudden, some Marvin Gaye came on, and people were like, if it was a 1980s sitcom, they would be like, "Ow!" Doing all this stuff. And I was
when Kelly Bundy walks in, everybody in the audience just goes, "Woo!"
Yeah, which is super inappropriate because she was like 15, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's the 80s. That's how you phrase everything. It was the 80s.
Yeah. I will say though, this show moves so fast. The Polaris Bishop thing was like a look. It was like a look, a moment. They fell out of the plane together, I think, or one fell out and the other one went after. They land on the ground, and then there's just a look between the two of them, and you're like, oh, I see it. But if you weren't,
in fact, Jonathan, I've shared that look. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, let's go ride some white pterodactyls together into battle.
It was interesting.
But they're but when talking about the white pterodactyl scene in that one episode, like when they come into the rescue, they're in the Savage Land. They are sharing more looks. They are looking at each other like, hell yeah. And it could be like Marco says, like, I just have your back as a teammate and fellow soldier, but. That episode Danger is just like what I love about X-Men 97, and they did it great in season 1, and they're doing it phenomenally in season 2, is season 1, everybody's like, oh my God, this is the Cyclops that we want. This is the Cyclops from Marvel vs. Capcom. And right off the bat, they're like, we're going to give that treatment to Jubilee in an episode. In the X-Force episode, I'm like, oh my God. Like, they make her part of X-Force, and then they have her going up against X-Factor, and she's being showcased amazingly well. I did not expect Polaris to get that same treatment, and even doubly so. I didn't expect Polaris to get that treatment with Danger actually from the comics actually being an entire episode, because that Grant Morrison run, like, that didn't come until 90, 91. I thought that was off limits.
I'm sorry, great, but Grant Morrison, yeah, I was gonna say you're off by a decade.
I'm off by a decade. But from it was like 2000, 2001, 2002 that Danger stuff started happening. I'm like, wait, are you guys allowed to do that in 97? Obviously, they did the stuff with the Grant Morrison stuff in season 1, and that's how they killed Gambit. But dang, the showcase of characters is amazing.
I mean, I think one of the things is like that's really cool is that they have such a massive canon to pull from. They have so much material to pull from, and so if the writers are sort of roaring through stuff, like anything is game. Like the one of the things going in was that they wanted to make sure they weren't creating anything out of whole cloth. Like everything comes from something that already exists somewhere in canon. So they're not limiting themselves to stuff that was pre 1997 or 1992 when the show began its run. But they're kind of like going, okay, what's going to work together? What do we have access to that's going to work together the best? And the other thing, like, I hadn't seen anything after episode 4 because I'm not in it, so I don't, I don't, record it, or I was recording like bits of Eson, but I wasn't seeing a lot of those episodes. But the thing that watching through it to sort of remember is X-Men is this show has always kind of been a soap opera. It's like an action comic soap opera, and so like when it comes to Bishop and Polaris or sort of any interpersonal relationship, like if they start putting stuff together and they're like, oh, there might be something there, like, why not go for it? And at least, even if you're not going to completely, engage and pay it off, there's no reason if you're putting it together and you're looking and you're going, well, these two characters, there seems to be something there, to at least play with that for a little while, because it gives people more stuff to kind of watch and pay attention to.
Well, knowing that some of the stuff that was potential for the episode, for the season, especially when they started going back in time, and Apocalypse was such a major part of those first couple of issues, and messing with time always lends itself to an alternate possible timeline. The Age of Apocalypse stuff that felt like it was on the table and wasn't, has Magneto and Rogue as a relationship. Was that something that you were familiar with from the books, and you're like, oh, this would be cool to explore, and maybe it's still a potential for the future episode, like a future season, like.
So I didn't know. I did not know that run. I didn't know anything about that. And we first started talking about it, in season 1, when they were sort of explaining to me what was going to happen and what we were doing. And I said, "Is this stuff that you're pulling?" And they said, "Yeah. This comes from the Age of Apocalypse run and stuff like that." But that's what I mean. Of like they pulled that from there for season 1, just because it I think that it added into what they were sort of going for in terms of how they were like building out the characters and building out the world and trying to take what had been necessarily a kids cartoon, because it was a Saturday morning, Fox Kids cartoon, and while keeping it the same, like making it appeal to the people who had watched it then, who are now in their 30s and 40s and 50s. So they were looking for places where they could while keeping it honest to what it was, also sort of up the ante a little bit and make it feel a little more adult. And so that's what they were sort of pulling stuff like that. So I don't know, because I'm not in the writer's room, and Marvel is really good about not telling us anything, even as it relates to, what we are or are going to do. But I think that it is fun, and it may be true, but I certainly don't know that if, part of a storyline is used in our storyline, that doesn't necessarily mean that whole storyline is going to be the whole storyline that you saw in the comics is going to be paid off in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what's to come, but if you're watching it going like, well, there was a bit from this storyline, so the rest of it has to be in there, it doesn't. they can do whatever they want, and they do.
Blew through the whole limbo thing pretty fast. Yeah. That whole, I love X-Men Inferno. Was my favorite crossover. I'm a big Silvestri fan, and the fact that it was all pretty much thrown into one episode. At first, I was upset with it, but really, as far as the show playing the hits, it plays the hits really well. These are the best cover versions of the hits, and I love that Inferno episode, and I love that Madeline Pryor and the Nathan stuff was done very cleanly, which sometimes in comics, when there's different creative teams covering each other's bases, the Nathan stuff and then throwing them into the future with the Ascani and all that stuff, like, it's not necessarily clean, because different creative teams do different interpretations of the characters and throw them in different directions. There's even a more recent debate this past week about the creation of Cable that Rob Liefeld, who I think created Cable outright, and different creators threw in on. And when that stuff goes on in comics, it sometimes has a muddying effect in the creation of a character. But this stuff is the cleanest version of the Madeline Pryor, Nathan time stuff. And yeah, did I want to see the time deviation and all that turn into Age of Apocalypse? Did I want to see Xavier and Magneto resolve what happened in episode 3 and 4 with Onslaught coming on the scene? I don't know. Were those plans in season 1? Were those plans at the beginning of season 2? And what happened to those plans? Or are those still plans for the future? Because I still want to see all of that stuff.
Now, I want to pose this question to the group, because this gets debated a lot when me and my friends talk. Like, should we have more episodes? Should we have a standard season? And the way I see it is, that's how shows become long in the tooth, when they have a 26 episode run, when they're like, okay, let's do this. Like, arguably, let's say, to bring in another IP, Stranger Things, if they would have gave us like 20 episodes that final season, we would have been like, it would have not hit the way that those episodes, when they broke them up over a month and a half, the way they did. They would have not been a pop culture thing that everybody, even people that you normally are like, wait, you never watched Stranger Things, how is this something that you care about now? Like, yes, I guess this season, more than the previous season, the missing episode at the end, that we were accustomed to, the double digit, it was one of those things that it felt, you did feel it, because it was a rush through certain things. And normally, we're used to, at least I am used to, when a season finale, especially on an app that doesn't rely on commercials for the most part, for them not to go the extended time. It was like, no, these are equal, around the same time each. And, but it also leaves to interpretation. Like, do I want to see the full storyline? Do I want them to get to a continuation at the end? Like, we'll see you next year or something,
To what you're saying, Marcos, to refer back to what Jonathan said, yes, they played the hits, but this is like, you go and see the Rolling Stones, and they're like, well, we got 12 minutes, so we're going to do a medley of all of your favorite songs. You want to hear a little bit more of it? Too bad, we've moved on to another one. And I think the number of episodes is fine. I just wish they hadn't blown through so much story so quickly, because we talked about on our show, it like gave us whiplash. We're like, well, we could have savored it a little bit. And it's not even being critical. It's just they know they've got a couple more seasons to work with. And I don't know that some of this stuff needed to happen so quickly. I mean, who doesn't know these characters gives a crap that Ileana's dead? We've never been invested in that character. And that's
if they're writing her like they did Jubilee. If they
hold on, time out. I hope people that are listening that are huge fans of hers, he does not speak for everybody. Just that was
hey, that was just I went and saw the New Mutants on the screen, and I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it.
But all jokes aside, is when art is faced with real life. You know what I mean? Like, I think the amalgamation, and, you know, I don't expect you, Matt, to chime in, is that there was a serious situation with behind the scenes, and they needed to rush out to get out to the open. You know, it's kind of like they had to blow through this to get to where they could now control the pace. So that's why I think it also felt rushed. Because they had to get these ideas to get certain people's names off it.
In the last couple of days, the stuff that Bo had planned has kind of come to light, and I don't know if that stuff is legit or not. I mean, that stuff could be rumor, but he had a like the rumor that he had planned that there was a plan for exactly what I talked about, an Onslaught and an Age of Apocalypse being a season 3, Onslaught being the end of this season, or to fight Apocalypse, and then season 3 is Age of Apocalypse, and the artwork promoting this season was the Age of Apocalypse poses on the Age of Apocalypse covers, but with the characters that we saw in season 2. You know, I don't know what how the politics affect that to a degree, right?
I don't. I think it has to.
You know, it has to. It has to.
Because it's like you said, like, you know, based on when you mentioned the comics, if you hire me as an artist or as somebody that's going to do my own interpretation, but before I start my vision, you say, hey, you got to finish this out, but you got to follow this story. I think this was, regardless of what the politics were, it's like they got to get to a natural conclusion for the story that's already started before somebody else goes another direction, or they add their own ingredients or their own interpretation of the story. And that's what it kind of felt like disjointed this season, but it was still great content.
Yeah, I will say, I think Disney knows what they're doing. And if they wanted an extra episode to wrap it up, they would have added an extra episode. I think they did exactly how they wanted it to wrap, circumstances aside. They were like, we're good. And all of the fandom that has gone feral is now going to be desperate for season 3 to be like, what are they going to do next? So I think it's working to their advantage to get that we feel like it's unfinished, because now we're really invested to pick up. And I know, like, the conversation right now with Netflix is like they're having a really hard time to get followers from season to season. And this is exactly what they're doing, is they're creating a fervor so that next season people are like, okay, tell me what happened. Tell me if you're going to wrap things up. And now we're interested. So whether it was intentional or not, I don't know. I do think Disney had the money to throw at it whatever they wanted to throw at it in order to get an episode 10 or whatever, and they just decided not to. So this is all intentional.
And the Gambit Apocalypse stuff was not anything that was really, like, there was no Gambit Apocalypse in the comics. Like, this is uncharted territory. And if anything, to me, I was like, I've seen the Age of Apocalypse stuff. It would have been cool to see it animated. Maybe we still will. I've seen the Onslaught stuff. I was working in a comic store when that stuff came out. I read every single issue. Do I want to see the animated version? Sure. But have I seen the Gambit Apocalypse stuff? No. Have I seen the relationship that Nightcrawler showed with Rogue and then the sacrifice is made at the end of the season? No. I saw a complaint online that people were like, oh, the tag, you bust out with Mystique. We're just going to go back to the old Brotherhood of Evil Mutants stuff for the next season. It's like, if there's one thing you should know by episode 9 of season 2, you don't know. That's what you should know, is that the Onslaught stuff could have been telegraphed. The Age of Apocalypse stuff could have been telegraphed, and you would have known the hits that would have been played. Now, Geekscapists, with season 3 of X-Men 97, we do not know what notes are going to be played. I just hope Mr. Waterson is part of it, because Magneto was right.
It was awesome.
Well, for most part.
But can I ask you guys a question? This is just like a
we don't
fandom.
know. That's exciting. I'm just saying that's exciting that we kind of don't know where this is going to go now. There's no blueprint for the comics.
It's always exciting, but just a small tidbit, like the Marcos in it and the whole situation is when the X-Men were chilling in the X-Mansion, hanging out in the kitchen, I would have been like, no, everybody, let's go into the new danger room because you guys all got, sorry to curse, your asses handed to you by Nightcrawler in like 2 episodes. Like one guy, it's like turned into Batman and knew everybody's weakness, and literally hand-to-hand combat took everybody down. The powers be damned. It was like, no, you're about to get dropped. And it's like,
let's keep in mind though, that was Kurt Lencher under the influence of Apocalypse.
No. Kurt Wagner, Jonathan. You don't want people correcting you in the chat, so I'll do it here.
You can do it. You please do. Please do. That's what you're here for.
It's a all Germans are the same in the end. It's fine. I understand what you're saying. All Germans are the same.
Yeah, Matt, we appreciate you saying what we're all thinking. Listen, Marcos, this iteration of the X-Men, they're all adults. They know they got their asses handed to them. And no, they don't need to like, oh, okay, well, you didn't get a good grade on your test. You're going to have to study all day, every day. They know what they need to do. They know they work together well. These aren't the New Mutants. These aren't Generation X. And I think that the moments where they're relaxing, whether it's being in the kitchen or after the fact, yeah, and also it's like the end of the season. We don't need to see them working that hard. I think that it's implied. Well, I'm sorry. What'd you say, Jonathan? I think
the streets are my danger room. That's my favorite line of the season. It sounds like Polaris is about to be his danger room, though.
Make him run laps or something. I don't know.
That's fair.
The other thing to keep in mind, though, the nature of that scene is that they still know that is their friend who is under somebody else's influence. As far as he's concerned, he don't care. So like he's able to go 100 and they all have to go 70, and that makes a big difference. Like in anything like that, if you're like, well, I need to pull my punches because I don't actually want to kill this guy, like Cyclops can't actually just blast him because he's done. So like that's always where those sort of things get fun of like, well, one side is trying not to hurt the other side too badly, and then but the person they're fighting has zero, reins on them. They're just completely unleashed. So seeing what Nightcrawler can do against the X-Men when like they're handicapped to a certain extent is probably different than seeing what he could do if they were all, full guns blazing kind of thing.
That's a great point.
Right. If it was Sabretooth, nobody needs to hold back. Yeah, that's a good point, man.
So let's see. Is there any bias you have with Magneto now, especially playing a great character as Magneto? Is there any sort of understanding, Matt, of him, or does he become more villainous of his methods, or you just play it on the day? I think what Mr. Charlie E in the chat is talking about is judging your character. Like if you judge the character of Magneto, obviously he lives in this gray area. How do you approach something like that? Because he's complicated.
Honestly, he's this sounds like a cop-out, but he's a lot easier than a lot of bad guys antagonists, because he's an antagonist. He's not a bad guy. Like I think the majority of people, even if you're somebody who takes the point of view of like he's wrong and like his methods are too extreme, everybody kind of understands his motivation, and so like that makes it kind of easier. And especially in his case, because he went through one extermination of a group that he was a part of, and he's facing another one. He's saying, no, I have experience of how this goes. So I'm not to go back to what I was just saying. Like, he's like, I can't pull my punches. I saw what happens if you pull your punches, and that ended real poorly. So this isn't me. That like, it's very easy in the case of, playing Eric to get into the mindset and to understand it, because it's not like playing a complete sociopath or somebody who's just completely selfish, because those are not his particular issues that have led to the kind of violence that he's willing to rain down upon people. His is much more understandable, and his is so in that regard, like when it comes to sitting down and playing it, it sounds like a cop out, but it's kind of easy because it makes so much sense. It might not be what you would choose to do in that situation, but you understand why somebody might choose to do it. And so that kind of makes it easy. And then, the way they write this character is great. So a lot of the time I just have to show up, say the words, and don't screw it up.
It feels to me like Magneto is a realist, and he's sort of the foil to Charles's idealism. And
absolutely.
Because as a natural cynic, I'm like, oh, I am Magneto. Like, I understand everywhere he comes from. Everything's based in reality. Everything is survivalist. And so I usually don't fault him for any of the decisions that he made. The only one I faulted him for was how long it took him to sort of help Apocalypse along. I was like, hey, can we sort of nip this in the bud a little quicker? But that was part of this
like in this run of this show in 97, in the 2 seasons, every single time he's tried to do the more idealistic thing, a lot of people died. Like every single time he tries to do the right thing, a lot of people die.
So right.
It's continuously reinforced for him of like, this sounds great, but it's a shit show in reality. And every time you do it, you have all of these other deaths on you. So
yeah,
that's a cool shading next to Bishop and Cable, who've also been through genocide.
Yeah,
and are like, oh, we're going to be practical and realist too, and I'm going to slap the damn bracelets on you guys and stuff like that Bishop does. And or you have Cable who's just pointing the gun and be like, sorry, we're going to go find Apocalypse wherever he's nesting, and we're going to kill him, and I don't care if he's nesting in Gambit, he's got to go.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, their outlook is not like, they're not that far off in their outlook from Eric, like how they view the world and how they view what you need to, what you actually need to do to try and make matters better is not that much different from Eric.
Well, and listen, he makes the right decisions, the good decisions a number of times, but let's not forget that he ripped the metal off the skeleton of Wolverine, and there was no real reason except he was tired of him coming after him. So he does have those moments where
Wolverine just stabbed him in the back.
Hold on. I just want to say, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just gonna say, also, Wolverine's really annoying. He's this little angry grumpy guy. All he does is he's real useful in a fight, don't get me wrong, like the front line, like on the Eastern Front of Russians where they just sent unarmed people in for cannon fodder. Wolverine's great for that because you can shoot him and he gets up again, so he's great cannon fodder, but he's annoying to have around, man. He's just grumpy and he's just this little bowl of rage. Like, it's not what you wanted to
Matt, the word you're looking for is Canadian.
Oh man.
But I don't know, I know a lot of Canadians.
Goose.
But it's like Chris, you got to understand, like he literally brought a knife to a gunfight. Like, you would think that somebody would be like, hey bud, maybe you sit this one out. Like, your entire body is made of the thing that he controls. It's like, maybe not right now, like wait. And he still did it. It's like, hey man, you know what? Like, you put in Rudy into the game, and sometimes Rudy gets bowled over.
Not only that, but he didn't learn. He was like, I gotta get the adamantium back. Like that went great for me. So I need to do that again.
By episode 5,
it's like, let's run this back.
Yeah.
By episode 5, he gets it back, and I would complain that he gets the adamantium back so quickly after it being such a momentous event. But I love the Brood. And I think that the morph writing in that episode was so
that episode
awesome.
was great. I knew nothing about that episode because I'm not in it, so I hadn't seen anything in it. And that one, the alien parallels, the horror parallels and things like that, it was a blast, that episode.
Why didn't they just have you voice a couple of Brood squeals and stuff like that? You could have done some shrieks and things like that.
But by the way, Matt, when you record, your Magneto scene and you're all done, do you know, like, oh hey, we've got another voice for you, or do you get a call a while? How does that happen? Is it a while later and they're like, oh, actually, we got something else for you?
So, I mean, the first time Eson appears is, I think, in episode 4, because that's when Nsabano goes, and gets. Turns into Apocalypse. So I think Eson appears for the first time in episode 4. So that was one where, like, when I got this, when I got the session, when they booked the session, they're like, by the way, you're doing, Eric, you're also doing Eson. And I was like, okay, so get it and read it and go, okay, who is this? It's Celestia. Great. All right. So, like, I knew I was doing that, like, at that point. How I didn't really know the full arc of like when he came back and the stuff in the last couple of episodes of with Rogue and with Nightcrawler, going back to talk to him. But I didn't find out. I don't think I found out like ahead of time. I found out when when I got the email from my rep saying, "Hey, you've got a session coming up, and this is these are the scripts, and this is what you're doing in it." And I'm like, "Oh, it's another dude. Okay, who's that?
Another dude.
Another
Can
dude."
I ask you a professional question and just let me know if you can't answer it? Okay. Because I'm curious. I heard you in another interview saying that the voice of Magneto is trying to sort of replicate the original voice of Magneto from the original X-Men 97.
From David, yeah.
From years ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when you get a new character like Isan, how do you get direction? Like, how are they giving you guidance to say we want the voice to sound like this, or do they give you references, or how does it work?
It kind of dovetails with the question that Charlie wrote in the chat.
Got it. Yes. Okay. Oh. So with Isan, I'm trying to remember exactly, but that was my memory is that was mostly sort of it came in and then I just sort of in the session I say to Meredith Lane, who's our voice director, I'm like, what are we kind of looking for in here? And with Isan, we knew that there was going to be some some processing, some sort of embiggening, for want of a better phrase, just because like the scale of the character and what it was going to sound like. So we knew there was going to be a little bit of work done on that. And so with that one, it was more like working out his sort of cadence and his phrasing and stuff like that. And a lot of it is like they'll, Meredith will take the notes from the writers, the directors, from the rest of production, and then sort of, filter them through her experience and tell me what she thinks will help me, we'll rephrase their stuff to give me the notes that having worked together a bunch, how she thinks it's going to make the most sense to me. And then and then sort of we'll go like, okay, so now we'll just do stuff and see how it works. And so I'll usually then think about it for a second and go, all right, let me try a thing. And we'll start doing it. And sometimes they go, great, that's going to work. And sometimes they go, why did we hire you again? So, that's with Isan, it was that with David Hemblin, who, played Magneto in the original series. And for all of us who were sort of, voice matching people who came before, the aim is always to the best way I can describe it is you want to do it so that if somebody watches all 5 seasons of the animated series and goes straight into watching 97, they don't get a record scratch moment of like, what? That sounds weird. So in my case, I'm lucky in that David, who played him originally, was an English actor who spent almost his entire career in Canada doing theater. And, I'm English and American and trained in theater. So, and our voices sit in a similar place. So when I first heard Magneto, I went, oh, I think I can kind of do that. I have to change up the accent a little. He had, a little bit of a sort of German Europeanish thing in it. They didn't want it too heavy. And when I started doing it as well, they said, we don't want it too heavy. We want it kind of sometimes a bit of more in the cadence, sounds a little like English might be a second language, then there's as much an accent in how he's pronouncing things. And so we just kind of did it and got as close as we can. And they said, okay, great. That we feel comfortable that it's not going to be a record scratch. Then you've got Ray doing Cyclops, who just sounds bloody identical. And it's infuriating. Ray just sounds like Norm Spencer. And I'm like,
I would say that, a lot of us, we have to appreciate the consistency. As anyone who has been a parent over the last decade, you've had to adjust to the shockingly terrible new voice of Big Bird, and I have to act like that character's really Big Bird, but he doesn't sound anything like Big Bird, and we're like, oh, we're just acting like this is okay, cool.
It's not my Big Bird.
I need to go. Like, I want it to be like Steve Buscemi as Big Bird.
You know what? Actually, it sounds more like Steve Buscemi than it does like the old Big Bird. I'm sorry, Marcos.
So Matt, when you first started speaking, when we got on, like you sound like Magneto, which is like, I'm like, oh, okay, like it's near the register of your voice versus like listening to Isaac when he goes into Bishop voice. Is like, how is this coming out of him? Yeah. It's like, where's this coming from?
Yeah, and that's the thing, like some people have to change a lot. Like obviously AJ does not sound like Gambit.
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to spend any time with him if he sounded like that.
that would be the greatest thing in the world.
But like, and I, like you said, Isaac does. When you just talk to Isaac in conversation, he does not sound like Bishop does.
So, like in San Diego
You saying
Comic
you guys are
Con,
acting?
What's that?
You're acting?
I'm not, but they are.
like I was like, so where's Bishop? Because I hadn't seen a picture of Isaac in
You
a while.
were
And I was
standing
like,
right. You were like sitting next to him.
yeah, and I was just like, as soon as he spoke, like I was like, oh, it's on me. It's only me.
You guys
So,
do research on X-Men 97, or are you trying to get canceled off the Geekscape network? So you do research, right? Like you research.
Yeah, I do research. But again, let's go back to the middle. I'm
I'll
not
ship
going
you
to
off
get
for
canceled.
12 years, like I did Christian. If you aren't here.
I understand. So, a question for Matt. So, I had the privilege of interviewing Guy early on when we're doing season 1, and he described how it was so hectic during post-COVID recording, how he would just record into the ether and not really hear feedback, and then it would just be pieces. Versus this season, it was kind of like it was a traditional, oh, we're booking sessions and you might run into your coworkers there and speak. Was it like kind of disjointed like that, and then more traditional this time around?
Well, apparently they let Guy be around people because he's like a golden retriever and incredibly attractive human form. I don't get to be around people. I've recorded all but one session I recorded in this booth here.
Okay.
I did one session actually, one session where I was in the studio in LA with Ross because they wanted us to record that together. But that's it. Everything else I've recorded here. So for me, it hasn't changed a lot. And a big chunk of that is because I'm grumpy and self-centered and I don't want to go anywhere. So I make them record me remotely.
I think you're a sweetheart.
Yeah, but I fake it well. So like for me,
or a sweatshirt.
Yeah. For me, it hasn't changed a lot. But I think for the people who are sort of going in and doing sessions in the studio, it has, because we started this in, I want to say like the end of 21, like December 21, January 22. So like we've been doing this for a long time, and it was originally, the first season was supposed to come out in 23, and then Marvel had so much in 23 that they, I think correctly said, yeah, we're gonna hold this back for a year because we don't have as much for 24. And I think that was the right choice, and so that got held back here. So like we were already well into recording season 2 before season 1 even premiered. And so like we've been like ahead of what was coming out. And so like coming out of lockdown and things like that, I think for the people who were in LA who are going into studios, all of a sudden, okay, yeah, we have Meredith and the writers and the producers and the episode directors are sort of in the studio and in the booth a lot of the time. So they're starting to see people. And so it feels a little more like a more regular session. And yeah, they can put people together, or they'll run into people coming, in or out. It hasn't changed much for me because I still do almost everything on Zoom, mostly due to being antisocial.
I get it. We all work with Jonathan, so we understand.
Work, the guy who's doing all that research. Work. No, okay. It must have filled your sails though to finally have like recording season 2 as season 1's getting all of this great reaction and people are going nuts for it. Like you must have been like,
yeah, it was nice, but it was like Rachel, my wife, and I, when we went to the premiere and sat down in the theater, and the way that the sort of premiere was, it was different. They kind of called it a fan event, and so it was a big theater in LA, but like half the theater, a third of the theater was cast, crew, production, things like that, and studio, and the rest of the theater were fans. And so when we sat down, we sort of looked at each other. I said to Rachel, like, this is either gonna go well or we're gonna have to get the fuck out of here, because this theater is a lot of fans.
What did you do to my childhood?
Yeah, if they're not happy, we don't want the lights to come back up and they all just go and stare at us like, you destroyed my childhood. I'm like, it's still there. I'm just destroying your adulthood. Calm down.
Oh man, so
I want to just go ahead and ask it, because is there, and you can answer or not, is there somebody that you have in mind, you don't have to throw out a name, that you would like to be Magneto in the live action?
In live action. So in all honesty,
And you can even say yourself. I would.
No, well, so here was what was fun. When the rumors were coming out at like before last week, I was actually really hoping that Adam was going to be Magneto, because I used to audition and run into Adam in New York in theater auditions. And like, we don't know each other. He probably doesn't know me from Adam, but like, I remembered him because like I would run into him, and I read with him at some auditions in New York 12 years ago, before Girls, before Stars, before any of that. And I was just like, it would be really funny. And we like had some conversations like in elevators going down from auditions and things like that. And I remembered him because, and I've used him as examples. Like I was helping with some auditions for a casting office called Carnahan, who does like the Roundabout Theater and a bunch of Broadway stuff. And I think 3 separate times he came in and was reading for something or other. And I think he got 2 of those jobs out of 3, but every single one of them, he came in and read. And when he left the room, the director, the writer, sometimes if they were there, and the casting directors all just sort of looked at each other and were like, what the fuck was that? Because like he came in, but in a way they were all like, they all were just blown away, because he would walk in and do something that nobody else did and do it better than anybody else. And it wasn't right for some things. Like there's one show in particular when I remember when he came in and he did it and he left, and it was an English play that was moving from the West End to New York. And the director was just like, he's not right for this at all. Like this doesn't work, but oh my God. Cause like he just would come in and do such amazing things and different. And like, cause Adam Driver is my size. He's 6'5", 230 pounds, and he doesn't look like anybody else. And so when you're seeing all these people come in who all look, are sort of traditional leading man gorgeous, and they're all kind of doing very well, but playing the thing that's written. And then you have a guy come in who looks different and who sounds different and who's not trying to look or sound like anybody else, is just being himself. And it's amazing. You go, oh my God. And so I remembered him, and I remembered, running into him sometimes like in the elevators going down and chatting, and we would talk motorcycles or this or that. But he stuck in my mind because every single time he came in, everybody in the room who hadn't seen him before went, oh my God. And everyone who'd seen him before went, right. And so there was a part of me that was like, it would be really, really cool if he was Magneto, because then I'd be able to say, like, all right, we kind of ended up in the same place. Kind of.
Well, he's playing Nathaniel Essex.
He's playing Sinister, which is actually fantastic casting.
I think it's awesome.
He's fantastic casting for that.
No, but they took a big name.
Played him.
I think
John Hamm played him in a deleted scene supposedly from New Mutants. But we have the X-Men now. We have some of the X-Men for the MCU right here. We knew Sadie Sink from spoilers Spider-Man. It's making $2 billion for Geekscape, so I feel like I can spoil it.
It's a small art house movie, right? Spider-Man.
Small indie feature.
Tom Holland has 2 movies out at the same time that are going to make $2 billion.
They're amazing films too.
And Zendaya, like those two.
I love and John Bernthal.
Johnny Bernthal.
Right, those 3 right now. Like at the moment, they should really just be getting to do whatever they want.
What do you guys think of this X-Men cast? We got Samara Weaving as Emma Frost. Sadie Sink, Kit Connor, Christopher Abbott, Inda Neverett from Obsession. Am I pronouncing her name right?
I think it's
Neverett?
No, it's Indy.
It's Indy. Yeah.
Indy Never Ready.
Yeah.
And they're ready to suit up. Supposedly, this is not all of the X-Men, but they're the X-Men that were at D23. Based on the characters they're using, and the villain is Mr. Sinister. We have a Charles. We have an Emma Frost. Those are like the headmasters, usually in the comics. What's the storyline? What are we looking for here in the MCU? What do you guys think?
Whatever they want to do. Like, if I could fan cast, since we have Xavier, I would take Jensen Ackles. Give me him as Magneto.
Okay.
That's an outside choice, but I think he's been raring to play a major comic book character, and I don't think we're ever going to get him as Red Hood. So,
if he gets cast as Longshot, will you be disappointed?
If what?
If he gets cast as Longshot, are you going to be upset?
No, so I like to see people that I like get paid.
I think that what they're doing is smart because, Jensen Ackles is somebody that was, on TV as the same character for I think 14 years, and I think sometimes it can be hard to separate them for like a major character. And I'm just talking about audiences and all that. I'm not saying anything about his talent. I like the fact that these are largely unknown or. I mean, a year ago, I had no idea who Indy Neverett was. She's amazing in Obsession, so I'm exciting for her. I mean, especially when you see the story that, she was like playing video games on Twitch for money because she wasn't making enough acting. Yeah, it's a great story. And I don't know what she's going to be like for Rogue, but I like the casting choice. And I don't really know a lot of these other actors, but I like the fresh-faced unknown. But, somebody like you're saying Jensen Ackles, like as Magneto works, I like that the cast though, that the X-Men for the most part, yes, obviously people know Sadie Sink, but I like how many new faces are here and that, these aren't like people whose IMDb is like weighing down your recognition of them from
same. And
work.
like, who was a better fresh face than Hugh Jackman when he replaced Dougray Scott for the Wolverine role in the 2000 X-Men? Like that was someone you'd never really heard of. Not that you'd heard of. I mean, Dougray Scott, kind of known. He was Mission Impossible 2, which was pretty big. And now you've
Ever After, cinematic masterpiece.
Cinematic masterpiece. And now you've got this unknown guy, and he pretty much owned that franchise. And maybe is in Doomsday with Deadpool. That was a fun little clip that they did at D23. Was he and Ryan Reynolds making a little joke? But I agree with you, Christian. I think that the more unknown, the better, so we can be introduced to these actors as the characters that we love. And
so we get 14 years of them,
yeah
right. They're kids. As an old person, they are children, and I'm like, that's sort of like even Jensen Ackles. I'm like, he's my age. He's too old for these people. He's
well, you got to think about the role he's playing. You got to think about that. And also I think when it's going to sound bad, but as a fan, I like when the studio kind of has a certain sway. Like, let's be honest, if it was up to the studio, they'll probably keep the same Avengers, but that's not the way economics works. Like, Chris Evans alone, his asking fee is probably more than they want to spend.
Well, Downey, his
that's true, but they're gonna make $1 billion off the movie, so like cry about it. Like it's really like everybody's numbers go up.
Like when you have 7 people commanding those salaries,
you're gonna make $1 billion. I don't care. Like $70 million. You got to shell it out, and you're gonna make $1 billion off that movie.
And this is a 2028 film, and supposedly there's a 2029 Marvel MCU film on hold that people are speculating is a solo X-Men movie for one of these characters, or a handful of them, or an X-Babies film. If these ages continue.
But listen, you weren't supposed to tell anybody that you read my X-Babies spec script. All right, it's still a work in progress. I'm not ready to share it with the world.
With Eric Connors as Mojo.
Please tell me this is you merging X-Men and Muppet Babies.
No, even
the X-Babies are real.
They are in canon in the comics.
I don't care. I want X-Men Muppet Babies.
No. But it's even better is the one that nobody wanted is X-Men and Solar Babies merged together to make the worst script ever known to men.
Are you saying? Remember, was it Prayer for the Solar Boys? What was the 80s movie? The rollerblading film.
Yeah, it's Solar Babies.
It's called Solar Babies. Wow.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Well, guys, I don't know about the storyline, but I'm excited to see the X-Men in the MCU. Do we see them in Secret War? Do we see the X-Men get wiped in Doomsday? Do the X-Men get wiped in Doomsday, and then it lays the stage for some of these characters?
No way. They're not putting all this money in just to
no. I think what Jonathan you're asking is the old X-Men are absolutely dead in the first 5 minutes of Doomsday. I do agree with that. I think that's very likely.
I think they're going to start afresh. I think X-Men, it's going to be when they first come together. I think Sadie Sink might have a big role in both movies that are upcoming, or maybe the last movie.
I hate to be that guy. It is a tough time right now to be a new character coming into a big franchise like Marvel. Anytime somebody new comes in, they're having a hard time. All the fans start
Well, Tom Holland was introduced to Civil War, and he kind of flipped his way to success.
He did it before.
We lost Patrick Stewart or Ian McKellen or anybody, it would not fare well. I don't think that. I think they have to sort of like usher in the group and sort of show their approval and help them along, because I just don't think if they're like, oh, we're going to kill all the old people and then bring in the new people, it's going to be well received. Every damn show that comes out that has like a woman, a minority, any sort of anything, it's immediate fandom chaos when they don't act exactly so. And I just don't think they're going to have the flexibility to just like come in and be the replacements for Ian McKellen. Sir Ian McKellen.
I mean, if I'm going to place bets on X-Men that are going to survive the first 10 minutes of Doomsday as the inciting incident scene, which it probably is. I think we've only seen the first 20 minutes of that in any of the trailers. And I love this most recent one where they're talking about Dr. Doom and how he's changed, and the stuff between him and Reed. Just in that trailer gives me chills because I love the Hickman Secret War stuff. I would say that we are going to get more Gambit than anybody else, a little more Nightcrawler than anybody else, and maybe a little more Scott Summers than anybody else. If you're making a team to go forward in the film, there will be sacrifices made of the X-Men early in that film, and some of the X-Men will join Thor and Captain America and some of the other MCU characters, the Fantastic Four, the Wakandans, going forward to try and solve the problem. And I think some of the X-Men survive that scene and become part of that. And by the end of that film, or in Secret War, you start to see these younger characters pop in, and there's still that rumor that Deadpool and Wolverine might show up as something.
I think it's a safe bet that the 87-year-old actors might be done quickly.
Dude, I thought he was done in Logan, and they just keep reviving
It's what he said, but
they've done great things with AI and CGI. He's actually not in the movie. They just used outtakes from.
Marcos is my guess for Wolverine. I want Marcos to be the new Wolverine in the MCU.
Oh yeah, 100% a Dominican in Wolverine. 100%. Not even that. Just give us.
It'd be Wolverine with a B.
I want them to go. I want them to go and get some like undersized hockey enforcer from like Saskatchewan, who's like 5'4", 5'5", like just a bowl of angry hair who's missing teeth.
But isn't that who Wolverine was based on?
Yeah, we're going for a comic accurate Wolverine.
Yeah, the original Wolverine was based on an actor. I forget who the name was, but he's kind of a vague actor in the same way that Lamal, who sang the Neverending Story theme song, was the basis for Longshot in the X-Men, which is kind of crazy. But there was a basis for Wolverine when he was created, and it was this kind of short, rugged actor who had been in a lot of.
Chris Claremont said that when they were putting together, he was telling me that when they put together the X-Men movie in the 80s that never happened, he really wanted Bob Hoskins to be Wolverine. He's Rabbit. But he's the right height, and he's the right demeanor, and I guess he's incredibly hairy. But that's what he was thinking, and I think getting something like that, someone that size, obviously, I think could be interesting because it would be so different than what we have.
In your friend circle, do people still have an issue with height? Like I had somebody, critique the casting announcement, and they're like, I've been suffering for 20-something years of a inaccurate Wolverine, and I was like, just stop.
They made fun of it so hard in Deadpool Wolverine in the opening.
Yeah, Henry Cavill brought it full circle.
When he hops off that bar stool and he's comics accurate height. Yeah. I thought it was perfect.
I love that.
It's like, shut up, everybody! This is what you would get, and you would be happy with it.
Yeah, I'm on the. Please give me Henry Cavill.
There's your X-Babies.
And by the way, thank you. I wanted to make sure that Matt got to see that the X-Babies have been in canon since like 1987, 1988.
I like that they're clearly full adults that are just small.
No, these are children. No, these are definitely children.
Children are not shaped like this.
It's like when you go to a Renaissance museum and they clearly don't know what babies look like in real life because all the babies are just like
dead
adults but small, or the horses don't look like horses. You're like, oh, we're just guessing. This is probably what a baby looks like.
Well, guys, I want to move across the aisle to our good friends at DC. because we had the Lanterns the first episode of this Lantern season hit, and I just want to get general thoughts. It's pretty fresh, so I don't want anybody spoiling it. It is a mystery. It does span from 1996 to 2006 to 2016 to 2026, and it's time jumps. It's got Jon Stewart joining, or kind of being trained by
Hal Jordan,
and we thought that it was going to be this mystery in the same way that what was the Matthew McConaughey
True Detective
style. And what did you guys think of this first episode of Lanterns without spoiling it?
Can I say something? I think
Absolutely.
this was phenomenal. Just based on the haircut that Aaron Pierre came in with.
He looks like Jon Stewart.
No, not even that. It's just like you guys don't know, because you guys probably get your haircuts in salon. I go to a Hispanic barber. Like the blending of Aaron Pierre's fade is so immaculate and so symmetrical. I was just like, I turned to my wife and I was just like, I have long hair. I was like, I feel like cutting my hair now. Like this is probably the greatest comic book like haircut I've ever seen. But no, all jokes aside, Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler were amazing. They're what I wanted and and even what I didn't know I needed.
We're watching it, and Heidi, who doesn't know much about the Green Lantern stuff at all, my wife turns and goes, he looks like the statue in Burbank of Jon Stewart that is out, that they put in Burbank. And she's like, it looks like him. I was like, oh no, this is a very good Jon Stewart casting. And anybody who's seen Aaron Pierre act in anything knows he's awesome.
I haven't seen this, but I saw Rebel Ridge, which is like the kind of thing.
Yes.
And I watched that and I was just like, okay, I would watch this guy tear pages out of a phone book. And also, if somebody doesn't find a superhero for this guy, because he's so good, and he's so good. Just look at him and you're like, people aren't supposed to look like that in real life, like in any way, shape, or form. I'm like, you were built in a lab for superheroes. But Rebel Ridge, if you haven't seen Rebel Ridge, that is amazing. He's so
and he was so great in that movie. When they handicapped him, it wasn't like your typical action movie.
No.
Like he was like, no, I gotta really act. It's not me punching people. And then when he did it, it was kind of like, all right, you guys all earned this throughout the movie.
But also the thing that was so cool was like, he's like, but I'm not killing anybody. Like I'm just like I'm gonna go through this movie and just incapacitate everybody, because that's but like the sort of the control that you could see like bubbling under the whole time in that movie is so like that was why I'm like, apart from the physicality, I'm like watching what was going on in his head the entire time of watching this character who could do all of this stuff and is just going, nope, I'm gonna hold it together. And like watching that, it's so good for a superhero.
Dude, I'm excited to see what you think of this.
I felt like this sort of translated that a little bit as well. That was my read on his character, was like he's really restrained. And the Kyle Chandler character, I don't think Kyle Chandler can do wrong. I love him. I love him in everything he's in. I'll follow him.
Oh my God, you sound like my wife.
But he's just like, he's clearly not trying to have any sort of partner. And still, Jon Stewart is doing a great job of like sticking with it, being restrained. He's just sort of observing everything that's happening. And I live for a buddy cop, and so their dynamic, I think, is going to be really entertaining as it goes along, and they sort of start trusting each other more, relying on each other more.
Yeah, there's some training date aspects to it, very much so.
Yeah.
But,
it's a lot of early Lethal Weapon, when they didn't like each other, not the sequels, or when they're all like, "Oh, Riggs, I love you," but it's like the reason that I really love this dynamic is because think about it, in the real world, let's say you're not losing your job, but your company decides to bring in somebody for you to train, that if you mess up at any point, he has your job. And it's like replacement. It's like the most awkward thing in the whole world. Like
welcome to the show, Marcus.
Yeah.
I do love though that they've got to the point where like no matter, even if they try and cast him against him, like Kyle Chandler's always the coach. He's always
for 30 years or something.
Doesn't matter what I do. He's got to be there being like, I love my career, but god damn, can I not be in charge of teaching youngins?
There's a movie he's in that came out recently on Netflix, and I watched it because Joe Carnahan directed it. It's got Matt and Ben writing it, and it's about kind of a heisty, armored truck in a bad neighborhood in Miami kind of movie. Who took the money? Who didn't take the money? Are you a good cop, bad cop? That kind of thing. I thought the movie was all right. Obviously, Kyle Chandler's amazing in it. And that one, I forget the name of it.
It's called The Rip. That's the movie.
Oh.
That's the movie where Matt Damon and Ben Affleck had to explain that when you make a movie for Netflix, you have to recap the plot every few minutes because people don't actually pay attention to Netflix movies. And look, I've seen both Rebel Moons, so it's very easy to not pay attention to Netflix movies.
I actually like The Rip, but there's something about that that's true. I thought that was just an aspect of it being who can be trusted, who can't be trusted, was them doing a little bit of exposition every few minutes. But I thought it was updating on what characters thought of who throughout the movie as the allegiances shifted. That's what I thought of The Rip. I liked it.
I feel that they would waste an opportunity to not have him turn to Jon Stewart and be like, what is it? Clear hearts, something, whatever he said in Friday Night Lights.
Heart, can't lose.
Yeah. And then I'll be like, yes, there it is. There it is.
I want it the other way around. I want Jon Stewart. I want Aaron Pierre to say that to Kyle Chandler, and Kyle Chandler just go, God damn it.
Yeah. You bitter kid.
I enjoyed it. I think that the mystery is, I like that it's a different tone than Superman. And obviously we're going to see Jon Stewart next in the Superman World Man of Tomorrow movie that they're doing next.
I'm most excited that.
Well, it's kind of. I'm most excited about the fact that Blue Beetle's going to be in it. My man.
Yes.
But how does this fit? I mean, in the previews we got Guy Gardner as well. He's got a ring in this universe, and you see some preview of Guy Gardner being in this. We saw him in Superman, the kind of jerk Green Lantern. He shows up in Lanterns either next week or the week after. What do you guys think? How does this fit into the whole James Gunn verse? You have ideas? How does it fit into
ideas and theories of how I think this is gonna. I think between the 10-year gap that they jump forward and jump back, whatever. I think at some point the Guardians, they're gonna make a rule change where there's multiple Green Lanterns, on planet, because they do it anywhere. Like even in the comics currently, they have a rotation of 2 or 3, and some other planets and some other sectors have a gang of them. It's not like one guy. And I think that's what's going to explain what happens.
There's Guy Gardner and Superman.
Yeah, and I also have theories that you said no spoilers about what we saw at the end.
I literally haven't seen it, so
no, that's why I'm a text Jonathan later.
Okay,
sure. I would love that. The biggest surprise for me, honestly, was you got to see Jason Ritter show up, and I was like, "Oh, he's in this! I freaking love Jason Ritter!" And he just shows up, and I had no idea who was in it, and it filled my heart. I was like, I love that dude.
I felt weird that Jason Ritter and the guy that plays his dad are like the same age.
They kind of are, yeah.
That, I almost looked it up. I was like, wait, hold on, this can't be right. But maybe he's younger than I think he is.
Well, obviously we're looking forward to all this stuff. It's great. Another example that we're living in an amazing geek golden age. And anybody who says like, hey, the superhero stuff is played out and there's superhero fatigue, this and that, have not experienced the fervor of X-Men 97. They did not see the Spider-Man Brand New Day box office.
That was needed.
Doomsday is going to kick some ass again. This was the most successful. They're calling this the most successful box office summer of all time.
Yeah.
And
it's all because of Tom Holland, Zendaya, and John Bernthal.
Yeah, good for them.
I mean, one thing that I would say, and this goes back a little to the live action X-Men cast and all of this, is that one of the things, if you look across both Marvel and like both recent iterations of DC, the Snyder one and the current one, the one thing they've done really well at is casting.
Mm-hmm.
They've done, because this X-Men cast, and I don't I have small children. I've watched nothing in 10 years, so I don't know any of these kids.
Hey, there's a Blue movie next summer. I'm looking forward to that.
Same. Very excited.
But like when you look back, like of the original iteration of for Marvel, like, you know, Hemsworth, nobody knew. Evans, people knew from like not Scary Movie, the not another teen movie. Like you were talking about people who had, like, Chris Pratt had come off being Andy Dwyer on Parks and Rec, which is amazing, but you don't look at that and go like, yeah, he's a superhero. Like,
you knew Paul Rudd, but not as this.
Yeah. And they've you know, Chadwick Boseman, all these people. And also, if you look at either, you know, if you go through Snyder's casting of his DC, like, they were great. Like, the actors were great. And if you look at like and
Downey Jr. was done. Like, let's remember, like, Robert Downey Jr. was
Favreau had to pull out all the stuff and sign off on stuff, and
they wouldn't insure him.
No, Favreau had to take on that risk.
But let's not be coy. Kiss Bang Bang,
Wolverine.
Yeah, you know, but we're gonna campaign for that, Jonathan. But Kiss Bang Bang had a lot to do with Downey's casting.
Of course,
sure. Like,
he was he's great in it. But like that's the thing, and even to looking at this, we were just saying, like, they're the cost of this. These two guys are both are fantastic, and you know, the one thing that they've been really good at, both DC and Marvel, has been casting, and sometimes casting complete unknowns or people who are cost way out of pocket. So like, I don't see any reason why they would, you know, and like you said earlier, like Tom Holland was kind of like a shot in the dark, and he's phenomenal
in The Impossible. The second I saw The Impossible and I found out that kid was in the running for Spider-Man, I was like, he's the clear choice. The Impossible, he is up against, he's acting with Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts, and he is going toe to toe and then some, and it is a phenomenal film. I love that movie.
Well, then I heard it was originally supposed to go to Shyamalan, but he couldn't do the ballet work,
the backflips.
Imagine.
You heard the Downey Jr. chemistry test like story, right? Where he does the chemistry test with Downey Jr. and he does like the backflips and stuff, and Downey Jr. just goes, "Hey guys, hire the backflip kid." Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm paraphrasing, but that's the story that Downey Jr. that's been shared, is that Downey Jr. was like, "Are you guys kidding me? Like, just cast this kid. He's doing all of it." And then when you see the behind the scenes and you see that he's doing a lot of the stuff, he's actually doing a lot of the stunt work. It's like, dude, this is insane. So, I think the great casting also extends to animated, and we have Matt here. I'm just trying to wrap a little bit. Marcos, you can still say what you want to say, Marcos, but I'm just trying to segue back to my baby calling me. We got Matt's babies calling him. We're going to bedtime. But you guys are on the East Coast. But say what you're going to say, Marcos, and we'll wrap up.
I just think as a person that consumes content of all, you know, all forms of entertainment, especially comic book related things, I'm very happy that Spider-Man was the hit that it is, because I think there will be a huge backpedal and a lot of projects that would be announced if it wasn't for the success. Now it is like, you know, it's running up the score. When Avengers Doomsday, they're like, oh, this is going to be 3 billion easy, because we, like, you know, we're more stacked and the score is already, like, we blew them out during halftime. Like, you know, this is all.
Marcos, we still had Supergirl, which is a movie that's very enjoyable, but did not perform and maybe didn't.
I loved it.
Window.
I liked it.
You know why?
We still have some of those movies.
We do.
So we just did have the Waller series that was supposed to come out of Peacemaker get pulled. That room got kind of shuttered over for that series. There's still stuff that is being moved and pulled around and stuff like that. So, like, I would say yes. And after Doomsday, it's going to keep going. I mean, superheroes should have always just been a genre, and it was never going to be a fad. It was going to be a genre the same as action, comedy, Western, sci-fi, like romance, like that. Superheroes is a genre, and I don't think we're going to fatigue them. And as studios consolidate, as we get less and less in between movies, and those go to Netflix, the movies that were $20 to $60 million budgets, the ones that used to be stuff, used to be action, they used to be the underworld films, they used to be things like a Blade film. As those movies start to just go to Netflix and streamers, we're going to see more and more of these superhero movies, because they are the way to kind of guarantee a box office. If not in the US, then let's see how these movies perform overseas in Asia or in Europe, where just booking them in the theaters can guarantee that another Terminator movie gets made, for instance, which is how they've been floating that franchise a little bit, is China saves it by making sure it's the only movie really that plays that weekend.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I do think, to Matthew's point, I think the success of Spider-Man, the success of X-Men 97 is the casting, yes, but it's that it's not superhero. It's that it's character stories, and they're doing a really good job of leaning into the characters, making us care about the characters. I feel like there's a period of time where we sort of lost the plot on that, and they're doing a really good job. There was not an episode of X-Men 97, I don't think, where I didn't tear up a little bit, because it was always something happening, somebody kicking the bucket, some sort of they can't be together situation, and that is compelling people to come back. So I don't know that it's necessarily the superhero shotgun blast, it'll make $1 billion. I think it's like the writing has got to be as good. We have to care about these storylines, these people as they continue on.
We learned a little bit of that in Marvel, right? Yeah. Like it had a little bit of a dip, all that stuff.
But there's movies that I was rooting for that did not, like the New Avengers, as they want to call it now. Like I really enjoyed that movie.
I love Thunderbolts.
Yeah, same.
Love Thunderbolts.
No, but it's like I sat there and it was like, look, saw the returns. I was like, why did this happen? Just like Supergirl. Should have been
called New Avengers. It should have been called Thunderbolts. As much as I love that it was called Thunderbolts, I love that it was called Thunderbolts. I love the Thunderbolts reveals, the comics. That should not have been on a poster. It doesn't have the brand name.
They probably needed 2 more like bona fide movie stars in that movie.
And
I think that's actually what it is.
I love First Steps. I love Fantastic Four First Steps so much.
Mm-hmm.
But there was some damage done to that brand. So let's see what Doomsday does for the Fantastic Four. If you've read the Kirkman stuff, or the Hickman stuff, my apologies, the Jonathan Hickman stuff, that is the Secret War storyline it seems like they're following. Man, that is a one big, fat Fantastic Four movie with Doom as the bad guy. And I'm so excited to see Secret War and Doomsday. Guys, let's throw out your social media handles. Thank you so much for being a part of this. You guys have done great on the Geekscape new host audition. I'm retiring. Christina has it, by the way. But you guys share your socials as we go round robin, starting with Christian to Christina to Marcos, and where we can hear and find you guys. And then we'll close with Matt, and I'll say goodbye.
Well, you can find Marvel Movie Talk right here on Geekscape, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the audio, so you can always subscribe over there. And we covered X-Men 97 week to week. We did multiple Spider-Man Brand New Day episodes, and we really went into all the stuff from D23. So you can find all that over there, and you can find me on social media at ChristianDMZ.
Thanks, Christian. Christina, what's up?
You can find me at Wisecracking Blonde Christina, but if you love Matthew as much as I do, because I have forced my friendship onto him and his wife, whether they like it or not, we do a Dungeons and Dragons live play show that Matthew and Rachel both star in. It's called Hexes and Heroes, and so that's available on YouTube if you want to check it out. There's a 4-part series where it's a one-shot that's based on Kids on Brooms, I think. And there are also some funny clips on Instagram, but go check it out if you want more Matthew, more Rachel. They are amazing in that.
Marcos, you could find me here on Geekscape Network. I like to shill, so the XPod 97 or the XPod, on the me and Megaran, he's the star. I'm the sidekick.
Don't be like that. Don't be like that.
The budget was not big enough, so they brought me in because Rand was like,
I didn't ask him. He has a big announcement tomorrow too, and I didn't ask him.
Yeah,
you're my guy.
I know you're my guy too. You can find me La Raza. You can find me at the Sunset Kid 56 on all socials. If you like to see me repost clips of my many podcasts or just pictures of my dog, which I adore.
It's amazing. Mr. Waterson, thank you so much for being a part of this, dude. I've been wanting to get you on the podcast since Free Comic Book Day when we met, and we're at the same signing.
Thank you for having me, man. This was a blast.
Dude, of course. And I did ask Isaac to join, but work did not allow him to join us, and that would have been fun to have you and Bishop on the show together. But later on, we'll keep doing. Matt, if you and Christina have some more of these episodes come up, or if there's anything that you have coming up, Matt, does not have to be Magneto related or X-Men related. You want to come on Geekscape, the door is always open for you, brother. There's a resource.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Creatives, but creators and friends. That's what we built Geekscape for. And Geekscapists, I hope you agree that this past episode, this last hour plus that you've been listening to, for me, is almost a perfect episode. It's like indicative of what I want from Geekscape: a mix of creators, a mix of fans, a mix of fun. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to it. You guys can find me. Just search for Jonathan Lennon, Geekscape, all that stuff. You'll find me on all the different things. Next week, I got some more geek talk coming. Maybe I'll throw a panel together. Maybe it'll just be a one-on-one conversation. I got to see what my schedule permits. I really appreciate all of you guys making this part of your schedule. Share it with your friends and all that. As we like to say on Geekscape, as you guys go forward, don't hate, create. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.